こちらは共有。
Right. I'm sharing my screen.
はい、こちらで大丈夫でしょうか。
I hope you can see my screen.
まずそのちょっと口火を切らせていただき
And
ますけれども、
I'm going first.
日本エネルギー経済研究所中東研
My
究
name
セン
is
ターの保坂と申します。
Shuji Hosaka from JIME, IEE, Japan. And my presentation is mainly about the relationship between Japan and the Middle East, especially after 1973. That's going to be the central topic of my presentation. So first of all, I want to go over the major events around the time, and I didn't mean to be selective, but it's only Asahi Shimbun newspaper, so I apologize. I picked up some articles on the front page and the related articles, and it's inversed. So front page is on the left side, and it's about the breakout of the war. And the page 7 of October 10th newspaper, this article is about the discussion regarding the possible stoppage of oil import. And here, October 17th, there's a headline regarding the price increase of crude oil by 21%. This number is wrong. It was actually 70% increase, which means that the Japanese media didn't have the accurate information, which is worth mentioning. And luckily, Japan, December 26, Japan was regarded or reclassified by the Arab states as a friendly nation, which resolved the oil crisis. And of course, the oil crisis was triggered by the Yom Kippur War, which broke out on October 6 of 1973, but the war itself stemmed from the Palestinian crisis back in 1947. So those are the events from 1947 up to 2020, when the Abraham Accords were reached. And I also included some important events like establishment of OPEC in 1960 and establishment of OPEC in 1968, and also the trend toward the nationalization of oil, and which all contributed to the oil crisis. And here in this slide, I want to recap some major events in Japan in 1973. This year, what's important to note is that the Agency of Natural Resources and Energy was established as if oil crises were anticipated. But this agency was still in the infancy period, so I doubt that it was able to address the crisis properly. And October 6, the Yom Kippur War broke out, and on the 16th of October, the Gulf states increased the posted oil prices across the board. And next day, the embargo was announced. No oil was sold to the enemy states, which are supporting Israel, and production was cut against the neutral states, and the normal production volume was kept for friendly states. But this classification was not clear at all. and Arab states never clarified the classification. So Japan didn't know where Japan stood in this classification. It was important and also difficult to acquire this information, but this held the key to addressing the oil crisis. And in fact, Japan, at the time, Japan was importing 80% of oil supply from the Middle Eastern countries. So Japan did everything that they could to secure oil, but none of them was very effective. And November 5th, OPEC cut the production volume of oil by 25% across the board, and they also announced that they would cut another 5% in December. But next day, EEC changed or shifted their policy and announced their support for Arab states. And then OPEC excluded EEC from the embargo list, which means the change of policy would change the course the Arab states would take. So Japan decided to step up the game plan. And November 22nd, Chief Cabinet Minister Nikaido issued a statement to clarify the Japan's stance of supporting the Arab states, but it was not very effective. Of course, this statement was appreciated to some extent, but Japan was still kept in the embargo list. It was still a neutral country. It was not the friendly states yet. And then December 10th, Deputy Prime Minister Miki was sent to Middle Eastern countries as an envoy, and that was effective, and Japan was taken out from the embargo list. In the meantime, inside Japan, the two basic laws on oil were enacted, like Petroleum Supply and Demand Optimization Act and Law on Emergency Measure for National Life Stabilization. But still, the Deputy Prime Minister's visit of Arab states was the most effective.